Fight fans, it's happening. Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira, UFC 317. Two of the most dangerous men on the planet. One climbing up with an undefeated record, and the other trying to remind the world he's still the boogeyman of the lightweight division. This isn't just a fight, it's a collision of two mindsets, two stories, and two very different ideas of greatness. But before we get into who's got the better jab or more violent jiu-jitsu, let's go back and break down how this all started, because this fight didn't come out of nowhere. Topuria has been loud and confident. After knocking out Alexander Volkanovski and capturing the featherweight title, he didn't waste a second. Instead of defending at 145, he looked up to the Sharks at lightweight and locked his eyes straight on Charles Oliveira. Now, he didn't just respectfully call him out, Ilia went for the throat. He said, and I quote, Oliveira has 10 losses, 5 by knockout, 4 by submission. What are we even talking about here? I'll make his chin explode. He even threw in bring a pillow just in case Charles needed help sleeping after the first round. So yeah, Topuria didn't come to play, but Charles do Bronx Oliveira didn't blink. He's heard it all before. The doubters, the trash talkers, the guys who think he's washed. When asked about Ilia's comments, Charles just smiled and said, I see that and I laugh. While they talk, I train. Cold. But it didn't stop there. Charles actually clapped back harder. He said, Ilia hasn't earned this. He hasn't proven anything at 155. But since the UFC gave me the fight, I'm going to knock him out, that's for sure. And that right there is when the fans started going crazy. You've got Topuria, undefeated, hungry, explosive, trying to jump the line and KO a legend in his first fight at lightweight. And you've got Charles, the man with the most finishes in UFC history, trying to defend his turf and erase the hype. But let's dig deeper. Who are these guys really? Ilia Topuria is 28 years old and walks around like the world already belongs to him. And honestly, it kinda does. He's 16-0, undefeated, untouched, and unbothered. The man hasn't just beaten his opponents, he's demolished them. 6 knockouts, 8 submissions, only 2 fights even went the distance. That means 87% of the time when Topuria steps into the cage, someone's going to sleep or tapping for their life. His striking is so clean it looks rehearsed. His ground game, black belt, his confidence, unshakable. He lands nearly 5 significant strikes per minute with sniper-level accuracy and gets hit less than most jab-heavy featherweights. This is a guy who knocked out Volkanovski, a future Hall of Famer, and made it look like light work. And the scariest part, he hasn't even peaked yet. Topuria doesn't just win. He takes your hype, your momentum, your reputation, and turns it into content for his highlight reel. He doesn't fight like a man defending a record. He fights like someone trying to erase you from the rankings entirely. He's explosive, ruthless, and calculated. The type of guy who'll punch your head into orbit and then walk away, fixing his gloves like nothing happened. But we haven't seen him suffer. We haven't seen him deep in a war. We haven't seen him rocked, bleeding, or drowning in a third round with no plan B. Now, Charles, we've seen it all. He's been dropped, doubted, and disrespected. He used to be called a quitter. Now, he holds the record for most finishes in UFC history. That's not a stat, that's a warning. He's got 21 submissions, 10 KOs, and over 30 wins. The man's been in this game since Topuria was in high school, but it's not just the numbers, it's the mentality. Charles Oliveira doesn't talk much. He doesn't need to. His vibe is simple: survive the storm, then end you in ways that make your coach question your life choices. He's pressure, chaos, and violence wrapped in a calm Brazilian smile. And let's not forget, he dropped Chandler, tapped Poirier, and finished Gaethje, all in under 2 years. So yeah, Topuria might think this is easy pickings, but Charles is not just another name on a resume. He's the test you don't study for. The kind of guy who turns your hype into regret. Now let's talk pressure. Topuria has never lost. That's a blessing and a curse. Because when it's all been smooth sailing, you don't know how you'll act when the storm hits, when the chin gets cracked, when your takedown gets reversed, when the guy on top of you has 40 fights under his belt and knows 10 ways to strangle you from every position. Charles, on the other hand, he's been through hell, and he came out smiling. So what happens when they fight? If Ilia lands early, it could be brutal. Charles has a hittable chin, and Topuria's power is different. One clean right hand, and we might be looking at a viral knockout. But if Charles survives the first, if he weathers that early storm, that's when things flip. That's when Charles starts walking forward, grabbing the clinch, dragging you to the floor. And once it hits the mat, Topuria's in Oliveira's world, the kind of world where tapping is a mercy. This is what makes the fight so dangerous. Both guys can win, both guys can finish, both guys have something to prove. Topuria wants to prove he's not just a featherweight champ, he's the future of the UFC, undefeated, untouchable, and undeniable. Charles wants to remind the world, I'm still here, still dangerous, still ready to break whoever walks through that door. And fans, they're split. Half are riding with the hype. The other half believe in legacy. One side says new king, the other says not yet. So tell me, who you got? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe because at UFC 317, someone's going to sleep. And if you don't subscribe, Charles might just show up and triangle choke your Wi Fi. Subscribe to Combat Sports Insider.